Where's the file? Hey, Emily. Hey, what's going on? How's the family? I am looking for a file. Hola, thanks for you joining. I'm looking for some feedback, looking for some ideas tonight. I tried this thing out last week. Hey, Melinda. Hello, Melinda. Tried this thing out last week where I basically put out open forum for people to share their ideas for talking points around math, things that people are struggling with at home. And I got so much feedback last week. I literally got feedback to build like 20 shows. So I'm just kind of working on the script for Thursday and leaving the forum open for anything that people feel like is a pertinent topic to discuss or address with mathematics. So it's really kind of all I'm doing. People have ideas, struggles with math at home, kind of opening the door for conversation. Well, hello, Devil Dog. What's up, Marvin? Gonzo, good to see you, brother. Haven't seen you since Okinawa. Anyways, looking for some talking points. Looking for ideas that people have. There it is. Looking for ideas that people might have for issues that parents might be struggling with math at home. So, you got anything that you're dealing with as a family? See if this works. Tell you a story. I went and picked up I had to run to the store today, and my brother called me because my niece was having problems with math. So I told him just tell her to send me some pictures and show me what she's doing, and I'll kind of walk her through it when I can. And when I went outside the Walgreens, there was a guy and a little girl selling Girl Scout cookies, and I keep seeing the Girl Scout cookies everywhere, right? And none of them talked to me, probably because I put my head down because I'm tired of buying Girl Scout cookies. But this one little girl, she's standing outside, it's really cold, and she was like, hey, hello. And she just says hello. She didn't ask me to buy anything. So I turned around and I went back and I said, since you didn't bug me to buy Girl Scout cookies, I'll buy some. And then at that same time, my niece texted me some pictures of some things she's struggling with math. And I set my phone down and I left the phone open. And the dad says, oh, do you teach math? And I was like, yeah. And right before I started going off about the Common Core, he tells me, oh, I'm a math teacher too. And I'm like, oh, yeah? He's like, yeah, I love that Common Core. And I literally look at him as soon as I pay for those Girl Scout cookies. I look right in his face. I'm like, yeah, you're the part of the problem. So don't know what to tell people about the Common Core problem that we have in America. I can't say this. Can't change it. It's not going away. The powers that be that create the curriculum for academics in America, they're not going to change. That's never going to change. I'm sorry to say it. In this country, we're too free. So because it's not going to change, my attitude all these years has been, if we can't change the education system in America, because it's too big, it's too big of a giant, it's too big. It's just big business. My attitude has always been, well, then maybe we can just change it from the outside in instead of trying to change it from the inside out. So that's part of the reason why I went to work in the school system to begin with. I went in as a math specialist to help some failing schools. One of them was Trimble Tech. And those principals, man, they gave me a chance to, hey, OT, those principals, Sandro, those people gave me a chance to work at the school, and I did, and I got a lot of insight. I learned a lot of information about what was really going on in the school. So the Common Core problem that people bring up all the time, people hit me up all the time about Common Core. The most common right answer that I can tell you is we're not going to change Common Core. We're not going to be able to take Common Core out of, because it's all over the United States now, right? But I'm still sticking to my guns. The way I've been teaching all the years is I don't teach a school's way. I don't teach a particular teacher's way. I teach mathematics one way. I teach the way that a child will learn the mathematics, because once a child learns the mathematics, it doesn't matter what kind of standard they're being asked to present when they turn in their work. It really doesn't matter. That's the difference between learning and understanding. And I talked about that. So if you watched my show last Thursday on YouTube, the show topic was called Show Don't Tell. And that's kind of like a secret to my teaching, is I really don't ever tell students how to do the mathematics, because that doesn't teach anything other than teaching somebody how to do what they're told. And that's part of the problem that we have in the country, is we tell kids what to do, when to pee, when to eat, when to take a nap, when to get up, when to get to class, when they're late. We tell kids constantly from kindergarten through 12th grade, we tell them what to do. And to the point that when we ask them to think for themselves, they don't know how to do it, because we've not done anything to condition them. We've done nothing to condition the kids. We've done nothing to condition American youth, specifically math students. We've done nothing in America overall to prepare children to think for themselves, because in the school system, it's considered a negative thing when a child challenges a school system or challenges a teacher. I used to tell my students all the time when I worked at Pascal and at Trimble Tech, just because I'm standing in front of the classroom doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I know all the answers. And if you can't challenge me, then I'm failing you as a teacher. I'm failing you as an educator. So last weekend's show, again, so if you didn't see last week's show was called Show Don't Tell on YouTube. And can you do me a favor, whoever's online? Can you give me like a thumbs up and a comment if you can hear me? I hope I haven't been rambling this whole time and no one can hear me, but hello, Catherine. Hello. If you can hear me, can somebody give me a thumbs up or post in a comment? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, if you don't mind. I know there's only a couple people on, but anyways. This forum is designed. I'm doing this thing on Mondays. This is the second week trying it. I'm looking for ideas. I'm looking for talking points. I'm looking for real struggles that people are having at home. Thank you very much. I'm looking for real struggles that parents might be having at home when it comes to school and mathematics. And I'm telling you, I'm not different than you. I had to help my niece tonight. Thank you, Aurora. I had to help my niece tonight. My little brother called me and said my niece, she's in 9th grade, she was struggling with her homework. I told him to tell her to send me a picture of what she was working on. And I'm not going to lie, I teach mathematics. I know math, but knowing math is different than understanding how a teacher wants you to turn in a worksheet. So my emphasis is, if you're working with your children, you're struggling at home with your children, the goal is to gain understanding and to get to a place where they understand the mathematics, regardless of how it's being taught and regardless of what a teacher wants them to do to turn in the paper for a grade. That doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because when a child understands the math, they can turn in the homework any way a teacher wants, because they have understanding. So learning is doing what you're told. Understanding is, I know the math in and out, so you can ask me the question any way you want to, and I'm still going to get the right answer. So again, last week's show Don't Tell, I really talked about that. Hello, Mr. Mitchell. I really talked about how you don't want to be that sounds really ghetto. You don't want to tell your children what to do when you're helping them with math. You want to ask questions that lead them to discovery. So again, anybody watching, if you got any ideas, if you got talking points, I'm looking for talking points. That's it. I'm just not really sitting here in front of Facebook rambling. I'm looking for, hello, Chris, GCC, buddy. I'm looking for talking points. I'm looking for things that people are really struggling with. And then I'm also looking for some insight on the big ask, which is, why don't I use the YouTube show to actually teach math? If that's what I do, right? If math is what I do and I've been successful at it, why don't I teach math? The short answer is, I didn't want to teach math on YouTube or Facebook because it's kind of boring. I was really looking to find another way to help people with solving the problem that they're having at home, with helping their children with math, which to me is much more important. It's much more important to say, hey, I need to help somebody with mathematics. I need to help my kids, and I don't know what to do because I don't understand how it's being taught or Common Core, etc. So my focus is trying to get insight and information to parents that they can say, hey, you know, I'm following some of the tactics that you're presenting that can help me and my child at home. And I'll just kind of speak to one that someone asked me about as far as repetition. My recommendation is 20 minutes a night, 4 nights a week. We're adults. We love TGI Friday, right? We love Friday because it's the end of a long week. My attitude towards practicing with your kids is don't say homework because homework sucks. If there's any kids watching, then you know what I'm saying. Coach Bobby's telling you homework does suck. It sucks. It's a negative thing. Practice, though, is different. Practice is a really important thing that you should do with your children. You should do it on a schedule. Hello, Jennifer. You should do practice with your children on a schedule. My recommendation, again, is 4 nights a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They need to be practicing something for at least 20 minutes a night. I wouldn't really push past 30 minutes because they have other homework, and you don't want to burn them out, and you don't want to make them feel like it's a negative thing. But you do want to encourage your children to do some kind of math practice, and I would do it differently than what the school's doing it, honestly. My children that work with me, the students that work with me all the years, I don't teach what their teachers are showing them. So when they bring me their homework and they say, oh, hey, I'm working on, this is what I'm doing tonight. I'm doing simplifying polynomials. And I'm like, okay, I know how to simplify polynomials, right? But I'm supposed to act like I don't know. And that's you too. So if you're working with your child and you don't know how to do the math, don't let that bother you. I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep talking about it on YouTube and here. The less you know about mathematics, the better math teacher you are for your child. Listen to me. The less you know about math, the better math teacher you are for your child, period. Don't care what anyone says. I don't care what doctor, what philosopher, what anyone says, that's the best. Because that opens up the opportunity to say, let me ask some inviting questions that encourage my child to engage with me and teach them how to discover the answer, how to find the answer themselves. Because think about it, if you want your child to go to college and you want them to do really well at the college level, they need to be resourceful enough to find another partner, find someone else in a class, make friends with them and say, hey, you and I need to pass together. Let's be study partners, right? Those of you who went to college, you remember, you grab somebody and say, hey, let's study together. You find study groups, and then you start searching for the information. Well, that's the end goal. So you want to teach your child how to be resourceful enough to say, okay, I don't know all the answers, but I'm going to ask the right questions. So those of you that are watching, I'm looking for talking points. So hello, Caesar. What's up, Maureen? So I'm looking for talking points. So there's any of you that are actually working with your children at home and you're struggling with something, and I don't necessarily mean the mathematics. You can ask me a math question. I know that sounds ironic. But if you have something that you're struggling with, bring it up. Last week, I had a bunch of people present to me like 10 different ideas for talking points that I'm going to elaborate on the YouTube channel. So this is kind of a casual behind-the-scenes thing where I'm just kind of eating ding-dongs and drinking tea and looking for talking points. Somebody asked me a question, and I don't think they're going to join, so I'm going to talk about it tonight. One of the things someone asked me is, what about my child who's struggling with what about my child who's struggling with word problems in mathematics? And I can tell you right now that if your child's struggling with word problems, their math scores are going to go down. You want to start those children early readers. So get them reading every day. And the more that they practice reading, then the more they're going to build up that vocabulary, and the more they're going to understand. So let's see. Hey, Chris, any comments, anything? A couple people messaged me. Those of you watching, if you've got any things that you're struggling with mathematically at home, I'm opening the forum to discuss it tonight. Because I'm going to use that information to kind of build the script for the show. Or here's the other thing. So if you watch this live or you watch it after the fact, I'm also looking for some ideas on what people think about me actually teaching mathematics. I didn't want to teach mathematics on Facebook or YouTube. But if it's something that people feel like I should do to help, then I will. Because the honest answer is, I truly believe all the years that I've been teaching, I can be a blessing to your children. I just don't know if I want to teach that way. So those of you just joining, This is just kind of casual conversation, looking to address some ideas and some struggles that people are having with math at home, so that I can kind of use that as a talking point towards building a script for the YouTube show. So if I don't really get anything this week, thanks for watching. I don't really have anything else. This is just kind of open forum. I got to see a lot of people join. So any talking points at all? Anything that you're struggling with? Like Common Core, struggling with word problems, struggling with a child who's dyslexic. If you got any of those difficulties, share them. So if you watch this video after the fact, I'm asking you to go ahead and post a comment. I know it's a little nerve-wracking to share struggles at home, but let me liberate you and tell you that every family I meet struggles with mathematics with their children at home. 15 years I've been teaching. I don't think I've ever met a family that when I tell them that I teach mathematics, the father or the mother ever looked at me and said, "Oh, we don't have that problem." Now, your child might be an A student, but I've never met anyone that didn't have a problem working with their kids at home. So don't be afraid to post a comment. Don't be afraid to throw it out there and say, "Hey, I'm really struggling here with my family. How do I help them?" And if you really feel uncomfortable with posting a comment and share that with everybody, then go ahead and just direct message me. I got a lot of messages last week. So last week's video got me 10 good talking points and like 600 views. It was pretty crazy. So I really appreciate that, because I want to do the show to help families. Excuse me. But the honest answer is it's my free time, right? This isn't something that I get paid to do. This is something that I love doing, is helping families. And so if you feel like you need it, or you know someone that needs it, have them reach out to me. That's pretty much it. I don't have anything else. Hey, Irma. I will say thank you to everybody who did watch, because that's the right thing to do. So I can't even see everyone. So Emily, Melinda, Gonzo, Sandro, Brenda, OT, Roland, Rosalinda, Aurora, Christy, Catherine, Chris, Mitchell, Jennifer, Alyssa, my student, love you, girl, proud of you. Fernando, Caesar, what's up, Soto, Belinda, Monica, Nina, Ponce, Jesus, and Irma. I really appreciate y'all just jumping in. Lupe, what's up, Lupe? Anyways, so that's pretty much it. I probably won't stay on this live too much longer. Again, I was just looking for talking points. So if you think about some things after I'm off the video, if you think, hey, we have a struggle at home, or, I don't know how to help my child with this particular area mathematically, then I'm asking you to go ahead and leave a comment, share that. I'll go back and look at it. I'll go back and address it, because all of those things that people are actually struggling with at home, I'm going to use them as talking points for the show. So, hey, Irma, thank you for sharing that. So do you mind, if you're still watching, do you mind if I ask you a personal question? Can you give me I don't even know if it would be you. But if you don't mind me asking you a personal question, Irma, what is the degree of the dyslexia? I'm not a doctor, but I've worked with a lot of children who struggled with dyslexia, and there's a couple of different forms, which I'm sure you probably know. One of the most common forms of dyslexia that affect children mathematically is basically failure to learn how to read properly when they were younger. It's not necessarily a neurological problem. It's just they didn't learn how to read early on. That's really what it is. One of my boys struggled like that as well. And as far as the ADD thing, don't be so hard on them. I'm ADD. That's why I do 50,000 different things. And that's why, being an educator, I really loved it, because I had a chance to be really super enthusiastic and really exciting and keep the kids doing something different other than sitting down and listening to a lecture, because no one wants to sit down and listen to a math lecture. Trust me, not even me. I'll tell you a funny story. So when I first started I'm not going to go there. So no one likes listening to a math teacher lecture for an hour, and some of those students have block classes for an hour and a half. So I would say, depending on what it is, Irma, you want to keep working with your daughter. I don't know how old she is, but early readers. You want to get your children reading every day. So my recommendation for all kids who are going to be excellent, the students that I've worked with that are phenomenal, all the students I've worked with are phenomenal. They're phenomenal students. The practice is 20 minutes a night, 4 days a week. That's what it takes. 20 minutes a night, 4 days a week. And if you want to see a child progress mathematically, you need to get them reading a little bit more. And don't be afraid or ashamed if you have a child. Let's say I had a child, because I had the same issue. I faced the same struggle with my own son. If you have a child, let's say that's in 7th grade and they're struggling with a moderate form of dyslexia, they're struggling with reading, which naturally impacts math, don't be afraid to go back to 3rd grade readers and comic books. That's a big secret, because here's the thing. Reading comprehension is nothing more than the ability to read words on a paper, and the words that are coming out of your mouth build a story in your head, so you correlate the story that's being built with those words. So when a child struggles with reading early on, they can't build that picture, and then as they get older and the level of expectation goes up with their grade level, they may not ever get that comprehension while in school, as ironic as that sounds. So do early readers. I did it with one of my children. You go back to an easy grade level with pictures and read with them. I know it's going to sound stupid. They may think it's dumb. You don't have to blast it all over the internet and tell everybody. Just spend some time reading with them something that is a lot years behind the current grade level that they're on, and then ask lots of questions. So if you give a kid a comic book, comic books are great because there's not a lot of words, but there's a picture. And those few words with the picture starts helping them formulate a picture in their head, which is the definition of reading comprehension. So the more that they do things like comic books and the comics and the papers and early readers with pictures, and the more questions that you ask after they're done reading, read with them, is things like, what did you read? What did you think? What did you think about the character? What did you think about that struggle they had? You can do lots of things like this, 20 minutes a night, 4 nights a week, to really build up your child's ability to comprehend reading. And then you need to help your child study the fundamental math language, because there's a list of words that represent the language of mathematics. I always tell my students that math is a foreign language. All right, so there's a big one. So she hates reading. I understand it. I would hate reading too, Irma, just to be honest, if I struggle with it. So here's an honest story. So some of you grew up with me. I didn't really learn how to read till I was in 4th grade. So that's just me being blatantly honest with people and kind of disclosing everything in the world. I didn't learn how to read very well until I was in 4th grade. I think the first book I ever read in my life was Super Fudge, and that was in the 4th grade. So you're talking about kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade. I couldn't read. And that impacted me. That impacted lots of grades, because you have to fake it. You've got to get a little extra help from your friends and work a little bit harder. Then there's the embarrassment factor. And then when I graduated high school in '93, there's this whole other world that I was missing out on because of the things that I didn't read, because I struggled with reading. And of course it impacted things like mathematics because of the reading comprehensions that's required. So my recommendation is, she probably doesn't like reading. I get it. She's probably focused on the grades. I get it. But you got to be thinking about the long term. And sitting down together is great quality time as a family to tell your daughter, as an example, say, hey, let's work on this thing, because that skill can be developed. She can become a phenomenal reader and never have the struggle with reading again by practicing that thing that you do every day. And start with some smaller books. So she's 13, she's 7th grade. So if you picked up some 4th grade, 5th grade books and read them together, that's not such a bad thing, because here's a secret. The average American reads at a 5th grade level. And if you don't believe me, look at some of the books that are the biggest best-selling books that we have that are bought by adults, things like The Hobbit, the Harry Potter series, things like that. Those books are 5th grade readers. That's not high literature. That's not a high level of reading. That's not like reading The Economist or the New York Times. Fifth grade is about the average that Americans read. So asking your daughter to spend some time with you reading earlier readers, and then reading a chapter, and then asking lots of questions like, what did you see? Or like I said earlier, say like, what did you think about the hero in that story? Or what did you think about the struggle that they had in that moment? Get them engaged to remember the picture that they had in their head. And then for math specifically, there are key words that children should know. So things like sum, increased by, these are there's general words, and I can throw them up on my website and make them available for download. But if children understand those key words that relate to addition, the keywords that relate to subtraction, multiplication, division, that's half the battle when you're doing word problems. And then you can start going through the question, because you don't want to remember. You don't ever want to tell your children, you don't want to tell them what to do when it comes to mathematics. You want to walk them through discovery by asking them lots of questions. And that's really the key. Again, I had one of my students is a pre-cal student. He's a senior, and he came over this Saturday, and he sat down with me for an hour and a half. And his very first question was, he was doing something with rational functions. And I looked at him like I always do. And I was like, awesome. What is that? And he was like, I need some help. I'm like, cool. I need some help too, because I'm not going to tell anyone. So we start going through this process of, what is it? What are you working on? What do you know about it? What notes do you have? What can we research? And you're teaching them. I'm trying to teach Matthew's, my student, Matthew, and then my other older students, how to think for themselves, because that's the approach that it's going to take for math. So anyways, so that's it. So Irma, thanks for asking and sharing that. I know that's private and personal to you, but I wouldn't be embarrassed about it, because everyone in this world struggles with something, and someone says they don't, they're a liar. They're struggling with lying. So as an educator, as a parent, as a student who struggled himself, I wouldn't worry about that. You just boldly look at your daughter and you tell her you love her, and you tell her that you want to help her. And I guarantee you, if you did that 4 nights a week, 20 minutes a night, if you worked on that, the reading together, taking turns reading, talking about it. Don't try to finish a book. That's not your goal. The goal is to understand in pieces what you're working on. You're going to see a big difference. And you'll see it within a year. You'll see it within 1 school year. So other than that, eating my ding dong. If no one has any other comments, any other questions, any other talking points or things that they're struggling with, then thanks for joining me. Thanks for the time that you did join. I hope that you catch the YouTube show. I think I'm going to be possibly addressing the Common Core issue, or the question that people have. So I may be talking about that this Thursday. I haven't decided. I got a couple of points that I'll be talking about. So anyways, if you watch the video after the fact, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you watching, and any feedback or comments that you have related to talking points or struggles that you're having at home that you'd like me to address, you can post them there, or you can send me a direct message. I'd love to elaborate on that and remind you that you're not the only parent that struggles. Your child is not the only child that struggles in math, and just keep loving them through it. At the end of the day, that's our job, is to love them, not to make them get straight A's. If that's your goal and objective, awesome. It's not mine. I don't want my children to go get straight A's. I want my children to know that they're loved and that we can work through anything and they can do their best. So I'm gonna go ahead and log out. Those of you who joined, thanks. And I'll see you next Monday night. You want to talk math.